I started doing it and then I got sidetracked. Didn't do it.
See if our guest speakers have made it.
Are those trackers?
There are lots.
Oh, okay.
Oh, jeez.
The only way I've seen it is like, usually they change it.
I'm gonna have to lasso them.
No, you can just like,
What's
yeah,
your
just unscrew
connection?
it.
Yeah. Huh? I said, what is it?
This? It just keeps you from opening this up.
Oh, that's it?
Yep. You can just unscrew it from the base.
It's interesting. I wonder what the purpose behind that is. I mean, there are a lot of
Probably to
people
keep
that are.
stupid people from opening the computer and
Is that a
screwing with it.
problem?
Yeah.
I mean, does that happen a lot?
I'm British. I don't know.
I
People,
mean,
when I was in high
because it happens so
school,
much that
oh,
you're
yeah.
spending several $1,000s to make sure that you're buying that's something that's like, I can't imagine seeing something like, hey, let's open up the CPU. Like, does that happen regularly?
And I say,
Think about where you live.
on it, and I was like, yes.
Do you think there's enough people who would do that in this area?
Southwestern Missouri, I don't know. I think that there are
It's
probably
quite
more than
sensitive.
42 places.
There's some people murdered at different sections.
Anyway, I was curious, I have never heard of
Yeah, it's a body.
somebody locking the context of CPU as opposed to locking the CPU from being hijacked. Like, this is my CPU. I wonder what it would look like in my house.
Hey guys, we got some people here.
Oh.
Is everybody in their Zoom session? I'm gonna turn the camera around, or actually, I'm gonna ask you guys to come turn the camera around and kind of face all of you. Come on and help me, since I can't touch it from up here. Hey Jason, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, wow, we can hear you. Let me adjust some things. Speak for me again.
Hi, Ms. Riley.
What I want is to turn it, so you'll just have to turn the camera itself.
That's annoying.
Hey, sorry, getting everybody situated here. I want you to be the majority of people. We have a lot of people at home. Are people at home, if you'll turn on your video cameras so our guest speakers can see you, it's a lot. Huh? You can see pretty good. Let me move this so you can see it. That's really good. What do you guys think? But yeah, when we're talking, it's a lot better if we see people's faces instead of black squares. So anybody that'll turn their video camera on, remember you can set that fake background so we don't have to see your messy room. Let's do that. Oh, thank you, sir. Okay, everybody wave and say hi, say hi, say hi.
Hello.
Okay, so you guys can see from the Zoom session that we have some people here and some people at home. So we have quite a few. I know you guys have our questions. I'm gonna get everybody started and I'll turn off these front lights hopefully so we can see a little better. Yell at us if you can't hear people. We do have a mic so students can ask additional questions other than what we had sent. Sometimes I'm not sure if that's going to be possible or not. So, all righty. Okay, you guys, we have, our speakers are from Next Level Systems. Is it Next Level Systems?
Next Level Solutions.
As soon as I said it, that I said incorrectly. So I don't say anything else incorrectly. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves to you guys, and then they'll get started taking a look at your questions. Thanks.
Do you want us to introduce ourselves?
Please.
Okay, I'll go first. My name is Jason Dean. I am a developer at Next Level Solutions. I've been here since pretty close to the inception of Next Level Solutions. I'm also a graduate of OTC going through the exact same program that you guys are going through. And I'll hand it over to the gentleman above me.
My name is Chris Sawyer. I'm the president and CEO of Next Level Solutions. I did not go to OTC. I actually have I actually don't even have a technical background for the most part. I have an undergrad degree in accounting and a master's in finance. But we are obviously headquartered here in Springfield, Missouri, and thrilled to be talking to you guys today.
Hi, I'm Michael Smith. I'm the COO of Next Level Solutions. I did graduate from OTC, but not the program that you guys are in. I went through the Associates of Arts program, I think is what it's called. It was a day or so ago. And then I finished up at Missouri State with a CIS degree. So happy to be here. Nice to meet all of you guys.
Did you want us to start in on the questions, Ms. Riley, or?
Yes, that would be awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm gonna do them kind of out of order because I know Chris and Michael are very busy throughout the day. So I'm gonna try to go to the questions that really pertain to stuff they can answer. Because there are some questions that really I have no business answering. So I think one of the questions I sent you guys was, it was asked, what do you look for in a resume when you get it? Okay, do you want to know?
Sure. So I think, you know, if we're focusing just on kind of technology roles and things like that, which I'm assuming that's what everyone in the room is striving for, I think it's really understanding, you know, the components that you've been able to introduce yourself to. So both languages and technologies and just overall kind of breadth of what you've focused on thus far, but also experience plays a role, right? So, you know, we've developed a career path and system here that it ranges from entry level all the way up to somebody that has a decade of experience. So, you know, one of the things that I would tell you guys is that as you start applying for jobs, there's going to be places and people out there who are like, well, you just don't have the experience. But that's a catch-22 because you can't get experience until someone gives you opportunity to get experience. So I think that one of the things that I look for is just kind of those extras. So, you know, everybody that graduates from a university has this kind of blanket resume of, I have this degree, I did these courses, I know these languages, but what else have you done? Like, what else have you involved yourself in? And that tells us, you know, your ambition, your, you know, ability to kind of, you know, manage time and things like that. So I'm not saying overload your resume by any means, but I think it's important for you to have a nice variety on there.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I would add is it's always good to highlight tangible things that you've done. Even if it's in the university, I'm sure at some point in time you guys would have developed some sort of, you know, program or something that's tangible that you can highlight on your resume, because to me, it shows, you know, really what we're looking for here are people with obviously an ability to kind of organize and deliver work, but also just a willingness to learn. We basically here teach our methodologies from really the ground up. So it's really the willingness to learn. And to me, the willingness to learn is to show tangible things that you've been able to kind of put your hands on and deliver.
Yeah. And so one thing to add to that, I would say that, you know, I think the resume gets you the interview.
Yeah.
But the interview is what gets you the job. So it's being able to articulate and explain those tangible things and those extracurriculars. And, you know, if you had a project that you're just really proud of, like, boast about it, talk about it.
So there's a second part to that question that I think more pertains to both of you, is what do you anticipate to see as far as job growth goes in this area of technology?
I'll talk about our specific area of technology. So our company, so in general, what we do is we develop software for insurance companies. So the good thing about that is when economies go up or down, everybody needs insurance, right? You guys need car insurance, you need house insurance, everybody needs insurance of some sort. So So Michael and I started the company a little over 2 years ago with basically him and I. So 2 years into this, we sit at about 150 people in our entire organization, most of which are developers of some sort. We are currently, so if anybody is getting ready to graduate and wants a job, we are currently looking for about 40, we would like to hire 40 people net new between now and the end of this year. So that gets us to, you know, roughly about 180, 190 people. We have a trajectory from a year from now to hire another 100 people. And about half of those will likely be here in Springfield. So luckily for us, the getting's pretty good. But you know, once again, I think it all depends on kind of what you want, right? So the good thing about our space and where we're at, it's fairly recession proof, knock on wood, because it's frankly a commodity that everybody needs. So you know, like once again, I've been doing this for a really long time. So to the point where I've seen a whole bunch of, you know, kind of bad things happen, right? I was in this business after 9/11, right? It was a horrible time in our country, and our business remained, you know, fairly steady during that time. The huge recession after 2008 that we had, our business remained, you know, fairly same, and we're seeing kind of the same thing in this kind of COVID pandemic. You know, our businesses remain relatively the same, and frankly, we're growing pretty rapidly.
Kind of just to pile onto that, you know, our technology stack that we work with is proprietary. So there's 70% of it is probably you have to be in this market to learn it. The other 30% is still C#.NET stuff that's kind of add-ons to the component. But what we're seeing over the last 3 to 6 months is that there's kind of a new area of technology that we're about to open up. And that's where a lot of the jobs that Chris is talking about are going to come in. So we're going to be doing more infrastructure and DevOps and IT management and business process management and things of those natures. So it's not all just, you know, sitting down, hands on the keyboard, plugging in and knocking out code. We're broadening our reach to frankly, to broaden our business scope.
All right, so the next question, which really pertains, you guys may have covered it already, but it's a question from a different person, is what exactly are tech companies looking for in entry-level positions or internships? What would be the best way to prepare yourself for those position interviews? So I guess internships we really didn't touch on, so.
Yeah, so I would say for me, it's hunger and ambition. If you can show me that you're ambitious about learning and growing, and I can just see it day to day that you're willing to put in the effort, you're willing to do that, that goes so far with me, especially. It's just, you know, it's easy to come in and, you know, fill your seat at your desk. But I want people that, you know, are hungry to learn so that they can move up in the company. Because, you know, entry-level resources can, you know, there's people graduating every semester. So those jobs can be filled, you know, fairly frequently. It's the people that have been doing this for 3 to 5 years that, you know, we're running out of that talent pool.
Yep.
And there's a difference between somebody who's been doing it for 3 years and been coasting and somebody who's ambitious and, you know, has really put in the effort to be good.
Yeah, I would echo that. I think accountability, hunger, desire to learn, you know, people, nothing makes me happier when people come to me and say, hey, what can I do to help? That to me is, that means everything to me. If you have those characteristics inside of at least our organization, there is a high degree of likelihood we will find a home for you. So that's kind of it for me. I think it's frankly, even more important in our world than the technical capabilities of it. We can teach you that. But we can't teach you to, have those characteristics of, hunger, ability to learn, willingness to want to be here, attitude, all those things are, to me, are more important than even the technical side of things.
It's also ingrained in our culture here. So, those resources that have been doing this for decades are those types of resources. They still want to grow and learn and expand, and because they want to do it, they want everyone else to do it too. So their willingness to teach and grow and mentor is there, and that just gets dispersed across the company. So we have, if you look at our website, there's a lot of things out there that talk about collaborative learning environment. And it's the core to how we exist. If Jason has a question, there's 40 people here that he can go talk to try to get an answer.
Correct. So I don't know if you guys kind of covered this, but it's kind of like a blanket question of how do you get noticed by the big companies?
So like post-graduation, is that what you mean?
I think that's really all the question says, but I know it's a fairly broad question, but I wanted to get the questions that more pertain to your guys' expertise, way above mine.
Yeah, so I'll talk about it a little bit. I've my career, I'm now 20 plus years into, my career, right? So, and I've come from kind of both sides of the fence. So the first half of my career was spent at a company called Liberty Mutual. I'm sure you've seen them on TV. They have roughly about 50,000 people working there now, like literally 50,000 people. It's a huge, massive company, and they're in probably 50 countries these days. So I actually, believe it or not, I started at Liberty Mutual in their help desk, answering help desk questions. When I left there, I was there about 12 years. And when I left there, I was the chief operating officer of all of their Asia operations. So I had responsibility for China, Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. It was a pretty quick acceleration through there. And I'll be honest with you, part of it was luck, and part of it was I was willing to volunteer to do literally anything. They said, Chris, get on a plane and go do an audit in Argentina. And the next morning I was on a plane going to Argentina doing an audit. Literally anything they ever asked me to do, I volunteered and did. And that just went a long ways to just having, once again, accountability to be able to, sacrifice and at times even over your family. I was having kids in the middle of going to Asia every other week, so it was a pretty big sacrifice. Obviously here we're quite a bit smaller, but I would say it's the same tenets, right? It's just the ability to, roll up your sleeves, get to work, sacrifice, do whatever anybody asks you to do, volunteer to do things that maybe people don't even ask you to do. And that type of, at least from my experience, that type of, work and dedication has, gone a long way into, obviously my career at a, big behemoth company, and even here, what we've been able to do. I was texting Jason Dean last night. We were having production issues with one of our customers, and I was on the phone from about 11:30 to 12:30 last night. So I was like, I might need to sleep in this morning, but that's just kind of part of, when you get to do something really cool, a lot of times it takes a lot of sacrifice to be able to do.
So to add on to that, I guess we could really talk about you talk about us being smaller, how did we get noticed by Geico? We're the little guy, kind of ish, but yet we got noticed by bigger insurance companies.
So we have a saying around here. It's very simple, and it's plastered in several different places around here, and it simply says, "Do good work." And that's kind of the lifeline of this company, is that, above all else, do a good job at what you're doing. Yeah. And I think that when everybody takes that mentality into their project, then the project results are successful. So we have 3 pretty big named clients, and one of them was through relationships that Chris and I have, and a couple of the other ones are because we did a good job at that person. And our name recognition and our reputation got us in the door of the second one. Our ability to outperform their prior, we call it SI, Systems Implementer. Our ability to outperform them is what got us into Geico. So, you know, so my number one responsibility above everything else is delivery. So Chris puts it on my shoulders to make sure that those projects are successful. And I hire people that are smarter than me to make sure that happens. So, you know, we did do a good job with that production go live. And, you know, we had all hands ready and available. I think, was it a Saturday night or a Sunday night that we did that go live?
It was a Sunday night.
Sunday night.
A very long Sunday night.
So at 7 p.m., we had about 10 people get on a Teams call, and we kicked off the production go live process, which just basically means, you know, the environment. So it's all Azure cloud environment. All that was constructed and set up. We did all the file installations. We, you know, plugged in everything that needed to be plugged in. And I think at 3:30 a.m. on Monday,
Central Time,
we you know, gave it the green light. But we had that entire team, you know,
it was supposed to be
dozing in and out of sleep.
It was supposed to be a 1 hour call, and I remember watching the sun come up when I finally went to bed. So it was a long night.
I had the CIO of that company just randomly texting me for those 8 hours or whatever that was throughout the night. Just, how are we doing? What are we getting done? And I think he was on the call for most of that.
Yeah, he was.
All right, so I guess more of these questions are, I guess, more geared towards the newer developer and stuff. So I can answer. If you guys have stuff to do, you can stay, or you know, if you have other prior engagements. So.
Good 8 minutes.
Okay. So I have a question. What do you think was the difference between your resume and/or job application and other applicants that landed you an interview for your current job? So for me, it was, I had done a phone interview with Michael and one of his now tech leads, but I think at the time Brittany was she senior level, or was she just senior level?
Yeah.
Okay. So this person is a field engineer, and in our business, a field engineer is someone that pretty much knows how to do everything. They're not quite a senior yet or a tech lead, but it's definitely a fast track to be a tech lead in the future. So I did a three-way call with Brittany asking me higher level questions while Michael kind of conducted the interview. And everything went good. However, because he was looking for someone that knew Visual Basic, and I had done Visual Basic prior to interviewing with Michael and Brittany at a former job. And so everything went good, but the client did not want someone that new to the business, Duck Creek itself, working on the project. So, you know, kind of missed my opportunity there. But, you know, no harm, no foul. And I kept working at my present job, or my job at that present. And then Michael reached out to me and said, hey, we're going to do this thing called test drive. And so I went in and did the test drive and met the people that were currently working with Michael here in the Springfield office, which it wasn't very many. I think there was 2 others or 3 others at the time. And so that was really the interview process for me, was basically sitting down and trying to understand what they do. And it is a lot of heavy-based XML syntax, and that's it. And so, you know, me being partial to stuff like C# and SQL, I'm just sitting there thinking, I can write this in C# so much faster than what we're doing right here. And of course, Michael was actually looking for me to say that and feel that way. And so were the other two gentlemen that were accompanying him to this. They were looking for me to say that. And so they asked me some questions later, you know, how did you feel? What were your biggest obstacles to overcome doing this? And really for me, it was just asking the right questions or giving the right answer, you know, because I talked to a person that was very well-versed in C#. Matter of fact, this guy is well-versed in everything. And so he was literally like picking at me to see what I would say in response. And apparently I said the right things. And so I ended up landing the job. And honestly, I'm not, I don't want to toot my own horn, but it's the greatest job I could have ever landed. So I hope that answers your question enough.
Motion time around here or something? What's going on?
Are you about to- So I'll add on to that just a little bit. So he mentioned the test drive process that we have, and I think that is something pretty unique as far as like if you're looking at other technology companies in the area. I don't know that they have anything exactly like that. We actually started one last night, and it will finish either tonight or tomorrow. Tonight. So it's a 2-night. It's about 2 hours each night, and it does two things. So we bring candidates in that are applying for analyst level positions, and it does, one, allows us to kind of get a feel for your ability to comprehend what we're doing. And two, it allows the candidate the opportunity to see if this is something that they're going to enjoy. Because if we hire somebody and they get 6 months into it and realize that, you know, they don't like this, that's not beneficial to either parties, because we've invested 6 months of our time, energy, and money into that resource, and that resource has invested 6 months of their life into a job that they don't like. So we conduct these, you know, every other week-ish, and it's just something that we'll continue to do because it does allow us to find the best fit for the role that we're trying to hire for, I think.
Yeah, so I have a simpler story. So I'm a kind of a big believer of when timing meets opportunity. So 1995, I graduated grad school. I went to Arizona State, hated Arizona. I wanted to move back to the Northeast, and the economy stunk. I mean, nobody was hiring. So once again, Liberty Mutual was hiring people to work in their help desk, answering basic, I mean, you'd be shocked at some of the stupid questions that we had to answer. I got the job solely because at the time, Liberty Mutual was the world's largest user of Apple computers. They were literally one of the few like Fortune 500 companies that were using Apples. And this is 1995. So think before, obviously, iPhones, you know, I mean, a computer in 1995 to have the power of an iPhone would take up literally this room. So we had to work on these old Apples, and I used them in college, and nobody knew how to use them. So just the fact that I knew how to use an Apple computer to solve just random things that people were having problems with is literally what started my career. I mean, we were working on computers. Look it up when you get a second. Apple IIc. It was literally the size of a suitcase. And we had them all over the place at Liberty Mutual. And that's literally the thing that started my career. And that's all it took was, to kind of propel me through my career was just an opportunity. And I would say, when you get that opportunity, take the most of it because you never know what's going to happen.
This doesn't leave this room, but that was actually my first computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't leave this room though.
Yeah.
Because PC Master Race for life.
Yeah.
You should have told me.
Where did you go to apply and find job openings? Well, so now it's so much easier now to look for jobs like this because you have Indeed, you have, what is it, monster.com?
LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn. shoot, Facebook. I mean, every social media has kind of taken over the landscape to where you can really find these jobs anywhere, or word of mouth. You know, with me, it was word of mouth with Michael and contacting him and just being like, hey, I know a little bit of, or quite a bit of Visual Basic, you know, I hear you're looking for a Visual Basic developer. And so that's kind of what spurred it. I never actually filled out an application at all, but I know that we have that set up. Like if you were wanting to apply for NLS position, we have a website that you can go and apply on. So also I know that we do advertising on Indeed, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I would say, you know, a couple of things, right? I mean, Springfield's a fairly small community. I think it's pretty easy to do a lot of research and go directly to, you know, websites and do nlsnow.com, submit your resume. But we do Indeed. That's our kind of big hiring board. I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn because LinkedIn gives you the power to do really as much networking as you want to do, especially in a community like Springfield. You know, I grew up in a fairly small community like this, and it's 1 degree of separation. You could probably go onto LinkedIn and look up these two, and there's probably a pretty good chance that you're connected to somebody that they know.
Yeah.
So
that's a great point. If you don't already have a LinkedIn profile created, do that.
by end of day today.
That should be great.
Was there anything about your job that was surprising when you entered it? Oh, yes. I was absolutely blown away by how much logic you can write in XML, because college, and this is just me speaking, this isn't like the hard facts. I'm just speaking from my experience. College gets you ready to problem solve. And it doesn't teach you everything. It gives you a baseline of this is how you approach a problem and you try to solve it. And you use everything you can to solve that problem. When you come to work, you apply those principles that you learn in college. And for me, it was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know XML could do this. And so, yeah, we use a lot of XML here. And so for me, I was just like blown away looking at it. Like, I did not know that you could do all these iterations and formulas inside of XML at all. I had no idea. And so it was a very rough go of it for me because I just couldn't wrap my head around it. But once I kept doing it, and of course, you know, it all depends on who you have around you. If you have good people around you that are just like, oh, hey, let me walk you through that, then it makes it a lot easier, which for here, yeah, there's like Michael said, there's 40 plus people here that are more than willing to help. I mean, you separate or you surround yourself with good people, you're going to succeed, period. So, but.
Cool. Yeah, I got to roll too.
All right.
It was nice talking to you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. All right, so. What kind of database projects are you experienced with? And do you have any specialized education in your profession? Do you have any experience with DevOps? Database projects, so yes and no. I actually just moved into what we call Data Insights project team. However, that's kind of a slow moving object right now. And we haven't really done anything with it yet. We have one person that works here that is literally a master of data insights, and that has to do with all database. Basically database reports. The insurance companies that we have as clients, some of them want to have basically a report on everything. How many cars we got insured? How many drivers we have insured? How many states we have insured? How many, you know, this, that, and the other. They want to report on everything. And so that's where Data Insights comes in, because we do all of our reporting, or they want all their reporting done through SQL. And so right now I haven't had that much experience with it. However, if the question is more pertaining to, do you work in SQL, then the answer is yes. We use stored procedures like, I mean, it's like chewing bubble gum. I mean, one right after another. And so I would say knowing how to write good stored procedures, high-level stored procedures, it's a must, because that's primarily what we go off of. So I hope that answers your question. Next question was, what are the big differences between the project environments that you encounter in school and the project environments that you encounter in the workforce? I'll be honest with you. So I know I didn't say this at the beginning. I had Mrs. Riley for almost every one of my .NET classes. And I'm very proud to say that to this day, she is still a very good friend of mine. For me, it was, obviously you're not supposed to cheat on any assignment, but when you're in the workplace, it's okay to copy and paste code. You know, obviously you need to know what you're doing, but in the workplace, you know, it's kind of like it's a time saver-ish. So, I mean, don't take that as me saying, oh yeah, just go out there and, you know, and just copy and paste everything, because you shouldn't. You should know how to work through the problem and write all the syntax, whatever you're working in. You should know how to step through it on your own without having to basically copy a block of code. The difference, another difference is I guess deadlines. So in school, if you miss a deadline, you know, like let's say Ms. Riley gives you a deadline of, it needs to be done by, I think, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Riley, but usually it was Tuesday night at midnight, I think was the deadline for 99% of all of the assignments that we had. And for work, it's, you don't miss a deadline, or at least you do everything you can not to miss a dedeadline, because then it reflects to the client that these guys can't get it done, or this developer's just not, this developer's just not cutting it. And then, you know, you don't want to be reprimanded or be called on the carpet. You know, you basically want to live by the saying of cover your ass. So, yeah, that's really the main differences. What are some surprises you've encountered at your job? What does a typical workday look like for you? Surprises. So now, if we're talking about this job at NLS, I've had 3 developer jobs. One as an intern at Show Me Power in Marshall, Missouri. One as a ASP.NET developer, just developing web pages at SRC. And then this job, which I will probably never leave. Some surprises that I've encountered is, here especially, how willing people are to help you. I'm a very introvert person. I mean, I don't know if you can tell that. I mean, obviously it's a Zoom meeting, so you know, I'm not standing in front of people, but if I was standing in front of you, I'd probably be shaking and bumbling over words, but I'm a very introverted person where I don't really like actively look for people to talk to and socialize with. So it was tough for me to grasp the concept of ask for help. But this company, I know NLS was founded on ask for help. Don't be afraid to reach out to the person that's across from you and say, hey, you know what? I'm having a object not found exception being thrown. I stepped through it. I just need a fresh set of eyes to look at this and tell me what's going on here. You know, I can't figure out where this exception is coming from. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help is really the point I'm trying to get across, because you would be surprised how much people really do want to help in this field, in the not only in the IT field, but also the developer field, any type of programming. People love to help. They love to have something to do. You know, I had a tech lead once that was just, he was so fast at doing all his work. I mean, this guy was genius level. I mean, I would put him right there with Zuckerberg, and he would be bored throughout the day, and he would just look for people saying, I can't figure out, and I mean, boom, he's right there like, oh, what do you have a problem with? What can I do to help? You know, and it's just, it's amazing how the upper level people want to help you. And it's not so much that they can stand on a podium and say, I helped everybody. It's more that they want you to be at their level. I mean, they really do. I know that is the case here. I know Michael and Chris both spoke of growth. And I can tell you this, and now that they're not here, because I don't want them to think that I really like them a lot, but those guys preach it and they also live it. We want you to grow. They actually live that statement. I've never met two guys that are the #1 and the #2 at a company that is growing as fast as this one is. And let me tell you, they are not lying when they say this company is growing fast, because we've had to rent out a second building now because we don't have enough space for all the developers. So they really do preach and live we want you to succeed, because they want to pay you more. They want you to move from developer to senior developer as fast as possible, and then on past that, tech lead, and then architect. They want you to do that. They want to have a reason to pay you some unreal amount of salary every year. They just want you to give them a reason to do it, and then it's going to happen. So I kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent there, which Ms. Riley will tell you I'm fairly known for doing that. So
He's talking me into it, though.
What was the hardest part about finding a job in this field? Oh man, so the hardest part is, and I don't want this to discourage you, but that's an easy question to answer. The fact that almost every job listed says BA required, which means they want your bachelor's. They want you to have that bachelor's degree. Now, if you are going to pursue the bachelor's through, I think Dr. Ford promotes WGU as being a good choice for your bachelor's, and then of course MSU, or some other university that you're going to get your 4-year, you got nothing to worry about. But if you're planning on going to just OTC like I did, and trust me, you can make a very good living just going and getting your associate's degree from OTC. I am living proof of that, and there's probably, matter of fact, I just saw 2 guys that were in class with me in Miss Riley's class just walk by. There's probably 6 of us here that graduated from OTC, and we all graduated within a semester of each other, and we all do very well for ourselves. So it can be done, but I would say that's the hardest part is seeing that we want this experience and we want this degree before we're even going to look at your application. Now, that doesn't mean don't put your app in. I would absolutely throw your resume in there, email it to them, because you never know. No one else may apply, and they may need someone just, super fast. We need a developer. We just need someone that can write simple select statements in SQL. That's all we need, but yet the HR person is hearing something different when they write up that help wanted ad that's going on Indeed. And so, because sometimes everything gets lost in translation, so they're actually asking for more than what they need on that Indeed job posting. So that happens a lot. So again, don't be afraid to put your application in or send your resume to the job that you're wanting. So, let me scroll down here and get to the next question. Do you have any people without degrees working with you, and how do they compare to you skill-wise if you do? So that's a great question to go into like a segue of what I just said. So yes, we do. We actually have we took a chance on a high school kid that turned out to pay in high dividends. I mean, this kid gets it. He's 17 now. He actually is enrolled at OTC while finishing high school. And he is, man, he's good. One of these days, I'm probably going to be reporting to him. So I always joke about it all the time. I'll be like, hey, I'm going to be nice to you, because more than likely in the future, I'm going to be reporting to you. So great kid. Yes, he works here. Now, granted, he's just an intern, and they will not move him from intern status until he gets his diploma from OTC, but that's his plan. And so, we also have another intern that is enrolled at OTC right now. She got hired here gosh, I don't even remember if she had finished high school yet or not. I think she had finished high school, but had not started college yet. So yeah, we have a few. And as far as how they fare against other people, here's the thing. So we are an SI partner of Duck Creek, which I'm sure you guys have all heard of Duck Creek. It's one of the better programming jobs in Missouri. They are out of Bolivar, Missouri. However, we're in downtown Springfield. So when I say SI partner, we're basically systems integration, systems implementation, however you want to word it. So usually Smith says systems integration, and today he said implementation, and I was like, that's the first time I've heard you say that. So, but, you know, whatever, you're the boss. So basically we take, Duck Creek they have written this software that we implement into the systems, or into insurance companies' systems, that basically handles all the rating, all the risks, and basically just does everything for them. So Duck Creek doesn't have time to do all that with all the insurance companies, because believe it or not, there are a ton of insurance companies out there. So we actually use Duck Creek software and we implement it into the insurance company system. So we are basically doing the job for Duck Creek. And so we basically just have a partnership with Duck Creek of, hey, we're not Duck Creek, but we know the Duck Creek technology. So Duck Creek's technology in itself is not something that you're going to walk in and be like, oh, hell, I know this. This is easy. It's not going to happen. I was that hotshot that thought that, I can do anything. And I quickly got brought back down to earth when I did the test drive. So, yeah, they as far as how they fare though, they do okay. I'm not gonna say they're definitely not what you would call the worst developers you could have. They're pretty good. It basically boils down to what is your willingness to learn. So because I don't know if Ms. Riley's told you this yet or not, but if you go to OTC and graduate and you're like, I'm not going any further, I'm gonna find a job and I'm gonna do well for myself, blah, 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 your school career really isn't over. You're always, in this profession, you're always gonna be in school. From the minute you start that dream job, you're always gonna be in school. And the reason I say that is because technology changes by the hour. And you're always going to have to go get on Stack, you're always gonna have to go get on MSDN, and you're always gonna have to learn stuff because everything changes. I mean, especially, let's say you go be a JavaScript developer. You are always gonna be learning something new. I guarantee it. So I hope that kind of answers your question. What was the most important skill or information that you needed to know for the job but did not expect or were not prepared for? Azure, by far, Azure. We had a client last year that decided we don't want to use any CBOs anymore, which CBO is a custom business object in our world that's written, it's basically a class file that's written in C#. That is like it's like a mediator between our XML files and SQL. So it's like the C# class file is like, it takes what the XML is doing and it takes those values and then it spits it out in a deserialized form to where you could use it in SQL and vice versa, the opposite direction. So when they decided they wanted to go away from that and just use Azure, I was just like, what? Why are we changing things? So not that Azure is hard, I just wasn't prepared for it. None of us were, honestly. Even our smartest tech leads were like, oh wow, this is gonna be a game changer and it's gonna be rough. So that was really what we weren't exactly prepared for. And it was just one client, so. But apparently it went so well, now Duck Creek took notice and Duck Creek's like, hey, we want all you SIs, start running Azure because that's what we're going to. So, and here is probably the best question I read yesterday when Ms. Riley sent me these questions. How many times do you need to either Google an answer or seek help on a project that has you stumped, you will never stop using Google, I promise you, because again, technology changes by the hour. It's something you need to get used to. And one of my tech leads told me once, she said, you are so smart, but the one thing that you are lacking is you don't know how to ask the right question to Google. And I was just like, what does that mean? And she's like, you're not wording the question right to where you get the result to be able to find the answer you're looking for. And so she has lots of experience. I mean, this tech lead of mine is just, I mean, she's amazing. And just one of the best developers I've ever met in my short time. And I've met a lot of good ones. But she basically just said, you know, you're always going to have to Google things. You know, we can't, in this business, you can't memorize everything, which is not a good idea anyway to memorize it. It's to understand what it's doing. And she said, with everything changing, you're not going to be able to understand everything fully on the first go. So being able to Google correctly and efficiently makes all the difference. So I hope that answers your question. It's never going to end with Google. You'll always be Googling, and you'll always learn that Stack Overflow is your best friend. What class did you take that was most helpful for your career? Oh, I would say probably C#2, because C# I kind of blew through. It wasn't, I mean, it was very basic. As Ms. Riley will probably shake her head and agree. It's very basic. It's teaching you kind of a base set of rules to understand and some syntax, but C#2 is where it gets into your arrays and your lists and, you know, sorting stuff. And honestly, that is something Ms. Riley will tell you, I'm sure she remembers because it wasn't long ago that I was sitting in one of your guys' seats in the very back row, that I was then realizing that, oh wow, I'm struggling with this, with understanding sorting. And because I was forced to work through it, it made me better. So yeah, I'd say C#2, probably the most beneficial because we do a lot of that now. So I have to do a lot of sorting with arrays and lists, so yeah. What's the most important thing you look for when viewing and sorting through resumes? And oh wait, I've already answered that. I've already sent that through those guys. So we already had that one. We've already had that one. Did you continue into furthering your education after your time at OTC, or did you feel satisfied with your education enough to get into the workforce? What would your advice be to someone trying to get into the technology field as far as education goes? Okay, so man, that is a good question. So I don't want to tell anybody that it's not important to seek out your bachelor's degree from a university. However, there's another side to that. We have several people working here that only have an associate's degree, whether it be from OTC, whether it be from SBU or MSU. We have several. And then we have a few that have master's degrees. I can tell you this, probably the smartest, the guy that I said was on Zuckerberg's level, associate's degree, that's it. But he's one of those guys that he's one of those people that he loves a challenge. I mean, he thrives on that. He wants something that's going to stump him, because then he's just going to sit there and pound away at it until he gets it right. And then he's almost disappointed if he gets it figured out fast, because he's like, wow, I really wanted that challenge and I ended up figuring it out in, you know, 60 seconds. So, I'm not going to say that you are. I personally ended it at the associate level because I'm older. So I think when I graduated from OTC, I believe I was 41 or 42, and I'm 45 now. So, yeah, it didn't serve me any purpose to go to another 2 years of college, like say at MSU or somewhere else. It didn't serve the purpose because I had a family to take care of, and and I needed to be able to put food on the table for them. So, so yeah, I needed to go ahead and get into the workforce. Now, again, I'm not telling anybody that you need to follow my route, but can it be done? Absolutely. Because in the end, I believe that from what I've seen, every company is just looking for someone that is willing to, one, learn and continue learning, two, do a good job at their job, and three, just use logic. Think through problem solving. So.
Hey, Jason, does the company offer any sort of tuition reimbursement if you decide?
Yes, we do. Yep, and LS does. I would have to probably send you the information on that because I don't know all of it, Ms. Riley, but yes, we actually do. So I can send you that information later.
Go there, could start working there with their associates, and then they could have that assistance to continue if they wanted to continue for their bachelor's.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so yay.
Yep. Let's see. Actually, I think that's all the questions. Unless I've missed one, I think that's it. So, yeah.
Do you guys create databases for the clients, or the software has got it pre-created and you just use it, or?
So they usually, the clients that we have usually already have theirs set up, and then all we do is go in and modify. So we've never had to build one from the ground up. Now, that's not saying we won't have to in the future. Now, as far as like stuff that we do on our local machines, to be able to test in the test environment before we push it to a main line or commit code to a main line. As far as that goes, yes, we do build our own databases on our local machines. But that is that's pretty much done by a script. We have a script written out here. We basically run the script, it goes through, we validate everything, and it's done. So I don't know if that really answers your question or not.
No, I was just interested in knowing. No, that's a great answer. Really, really it is. Anybody got any other questions? I'm sure you do. What are you guys thinking? Well, you've got him here.
I've got a couple more minutes.
Yeah, just a couple. He's got to hurry, so just a few minutes for anyone.
Yeah, for some reason they expect me to work here, so. Does your company attend any networking events here in Springfield? So by networking events, I'm going to assume that you're talking about hackathon, maybe, or
and the .NET meetups and.
Yeah, I do believe Beck still, Ms. Riley, you know who I'm talking about. Beck will still try to get people from NLS to attend things like that, and she's always bringing it up in our Teams channels, like, hey, all you Springfield people, if you want to go to this, this is the college that, or a lot of the people from the college that I graduated from are going to this, and it's a great opportunity to meet other developers, yada, 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 and stuff. So, so yeah, I believe Beck is really getting that ramped up. Really what NLS goes to is more the, like they go to the universities and they will talk to people, like on job fair day, they'll go there because they would rather go to the universities and talk to, kids like you, that are in this field, than opposed to going to like a regular job fair that's, you don't know what those people are there for, so.
Mm-hmm. We have a new degree, a new program that's the IT program where students will be geared more towards IT security and IT support. So it sounds like that's an area that your company is going to be getting into also.
Yep. We actually just started an IT department because we've gotten so big now that we actually started having some problems with networking here at the office. And so, yeah, we had to start an IT department. So it's definitely within the realm. You need this office. Oh, okay.
We'll just send everybody over. Well, thank you so much for your time. Does anybody have any more questions? We let Jason get to work.
I'm here too, if you want to ask me a question.
Yeah, we have the CEO back, so you can ask any really high-level questions.
Anymore. I think everybody's good. They're just ready to get to work. So thank you guys so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Can you give them a hand, a sort of a virtual hand? Yay!
Thank you guys, appreciate it. See you guys.
See ya.
All right, thanks, Ms. Riley. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Hi, Jason.
Bye.
Okay.
Someone's question was covered up.
Was it?
Yeah. Do you accept internship applications year-round?
Oh, Isaac, I didn't even see it either. Let's look at their website. I think that they have some information there. Okay. Oh, there's the Duck Creek people.
Might be in careers.
Probably. I didn't get to mention that, but did you notice that Jason and one of the owners were wearing shorts? That sounds good. I mean, it's a little cold today, but still. Like to be able to have that kind of flexibility is really nice. Do you see any that are, I don't see any that are interns. We will ask though, the person that he was referring to that is in school, that's here, is in the 120 class on Monday and Wednesday and here. And so she was saying yesterday that they had some internship material that she was going to pass on to Dr. Ford or post in Discord. So getting that information together, we'll get it to you guys as soon as we can so that you can see what they've got available.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested, but I'm not going to be graduating until next semester.
I think that's a great time. And Jason would tell you that same thing. That's one thing that we didn't have a lot of questions about. And I noticed he sort of skipped that one accidentally too, as far as how long it took him to get an interview. And I know him and Perry, the friend of his that works there, they both started internships very early in their last semester. So their second to last semester is when they were kind of looking and going out and seeing what was available. And then they started internships at the beginning of that last semester. And in our C#2 class, our guest speakers were from Jack Henry. And Kelly, one of the ones that's one of our primary guest speakers from Jack Henry that comes in for me each semester, he says all the time he waited. He thought that he just should have all this knowledge before he went out and tried to get an internship or a job. But he also worked at OTC as a developer, so he kind of had that going. But he said many times in his opportunities to guest speak that he feels like he waited too long to go out there to find that internship or find that job. So all of them are kind of giving me the impression that they feel like that second to last semester, when you're getting ready for your last semester, is a really good time to be out looking and seeing what's available and trying to get in somewhere so that during that last semester, you have that internship going on too. And of course, that's going to depend on your schedule. You know, some people's class schedule might not allow that. So a lot of CIS majors seem to kind of end up with that last semester being the capstone and maybe one other class. So they kind of have time to fit that in. So it depends on your schedule. But yeah, I would get in there. You know, when you're looking at going to your last semester, you already have built a lot of the experience and knowledge that they want in the stuff that they need.
I just thought of a question.
Oh no, well I can send it to him.
I don't know how flexible their internship schedules are, because you know, if you're going to class at the same time, classes aren't very flexible. So I almost.
Well, I know the girl that's in the 120 class, it's from 11:30 to 1:20, so I'm sure they're pretty flexible with their schedule.
This I know at this point an absurd amount of networking.
Do you? So you might be too busy.
Well, no, because I work here in the network and hardware department, and if they just made an IT group, I might be interested in moving over there.
Oh, yeah.
Because they would need people who know what they're doing.
For sure. Well, both of them, because say these guys, Jason and Perry both started at different places with their internships. Jason mentioned he was at that power company in Marshfield for his internship. And I know he was super disappointed. They didn't offer him a full-time position when it came to the end of his internship. His internship got over and it was like, okay, and he just sort of walked off. And so he got the job at, what is that?
So that was SRC.
FRC, I'm like initials with an S, the remanufacturing. And we do have some other former students that work at SRC. SRC is the kind of company that you need to negotiate your pay because they are going to try to negotiate your pay down here, and you need to negotiate your pay up here. Otherwise, they will keep it way down here. They're not the kind of company that says, oh, well, we'll bring your pay up since you started low. They're like, you started low. That's where you are. Now, Matt at Jack Henry, our other speaker from there, he started his internship at Jack Henry at the beginning of his last semester. And he likes to tell everybody about it. So I'll kind of paraphrase his story. He was really worried about his schedule. He was really concerned that he didn't have time for this Jack Henry internship and the classes that he needed to take. But this Jack Henry opportunity was right there. And they were like, we really want you. We want you to come on board. We'll work with your classes. We don't normally do that, but we'll do whatever we need to do to work with you. And so he says he's very glad he went ahead and did that because by the time he graduated, they already had decided to promote him. And so he's been a manager like from the time he graduated. But he had, another degree and other experience. And so that's why they were super interested in him when he went in. So all those kind of things matter.
Do you know how long it takes for money in places like that to call that because they are such big companies?
It always depends because they have so many different groups, and a lot of it depends on which group you're applying to and how fast their turnaround is. And of course, it's all dependent on that HR department. But like there's BANF or something, they have this little sub group that's working on a big project. When they decide they need to staff up, they move fast. And like Matt said, with his position, they moved really fast and he got that job very quickly. But then I know there's other cases where they have more of a long-term project plan and they're building their staff slowly. So it can go either way. I don't really think it's an indicator of how super interested they are in you. It's hard to know. They can be really, I don't know if they're super picky, but I know that they seem to make a lot of decisions based on the resume. And it seems like if there's something that they don't like about that resume, you just won't ever hear from them and you would never know what that was. Yeah. It's just weird that way. And if I could put my fingers on it, I would say exactly what it is, but I don't know. I don't know if there's certain tones that they're looking for, or something like that, because they can be super, super picky. Let's look at some others before we move on. What's the one? These cards are over here. This is another company that I think Dr. Ford just posted something. They have a full-time position open. Gravitate.
Oh, yeah. I think they're a newer company. Newer relatively, like the past few years.
I think so. Or at least they have changed their name.
Maybe. Oh, okay, I'm wrong.
Is this the right one?
I don't know.
I think it is. They've changed their website, so I got to be checked. Yeah, I think so. Yep. Okay, so Gravitate is over on Primrose, and they also have a location like in Washington, D.C. If this is the right place. So I might just be seeing people from Washington, D.C. here. I don't think so. I think this is the right place. But I feel like I say former students 7,000 times a day. I've been teaching for a really long time. So I have another former student who's really high up here at Gravitate. And again, he loves working there. Everybody that works here loves working here. They do software for associations. So like the National Rifle Association or the, I don't know, some other association that's completely against the National Rifle Association. They do them all. So anything that's an association that has been registered with the IRS as an association, because that takes specific requirements, they do software and solutions and things for them. So it's very interesting. They have a really nice facility. Over on Primrose, it's all wood and everybody has their own office with nice glass doors and those kinds of things. Looking at where Jason and them were, I would say the aesthetics of their office is not as important to them as it is to the Accenture people. And that could be a difference in how many customers and clients come in through the door to see the facility. But this is another great company in Springfield to work for. So you might, as you get through school, you'll hear more and more about some of the bigger ones. O'Reilly's hires a lot of people. That's great. Jack Henry hires a lot of people. That's great. But there are some other employers in town that are just fantastic, that pay people very well and are very, very good places to work. So Tim, I didn't ask Tim to be a guest speaker this semester. I usually hit him up, and I did not this semester because I think he's got some other personal things going on, but he's definitely always available. One thing about Tim, the one that works at Gravitate, is he's really helpful with resumes. So our career center is a great place for resumes where you're working on your resume, you want somebody to look it over, make sure it looks good, give you some critiques. They'll do that and they're awesome at it. But Tim will also do it for you, and he loves doing it. It's just a thing. He's a very helpful person. He ran all of the .NET user groups for several years. He's worked really hard to bring tech into Springfield, so he really feels it's important to help young people as they're getting started. And so he'll take a look at your resume, give you feedback, say, well, I see that you've done this, but you're not telling me about it, tell me about it. And so he'll give you feedback that way, like from a technical perspective, like, how come I'm not getting more information about this from you? So that's cool. He's really good. Lots of great places in town, which is really neat. They mentioned it's a small town. If we're from a smaller town, Springfield doesn't seem that small. But if we look at the whole scheme of things, it's a very small city in the country. And so we can be kind of considered a really small area with not a lot of high-level technical employment. And people like Tim Franklin, Dr. Ford, lots of others in Springfield in the community have worked tirelessly for years to bring some of these tech organizations into town. They know the talent's here, and that's great. So there are opportunities out there for you guys. Woohoo! We need to look at that lab thing. Let's finish it. Do we have time? I think we do. What was it? Oh, it was the problems. Do, do, do. See if I can find him again. Wonderful IT staff is checking into the Lucid charts for us. If it's still working for you, that's great. Keep using it. Might just be picking on Chelsea for no reason. We'll see. But they're going to check into real licenses for us because I told them how helpful it's been. So hopefully it won't be super, super expensive. Okay, RJ, I'm so glad you're here. I had like this terrible thought last night of, oh, RJ had done all this and I hadn't gotten a copy of it from him. What if he's not here? Anyway, you have the Excel spreadsheet that we were using.
Well, oddly enough, that's on my own computer.
Well, then we'll have to find somebody who is.
Only gonna be doing this.
Do I?
That I didn't bring a computer because I thought we were only gonna be doing.
Oh, well, that makes sense. We might have to just only do our guest speaker, do you think?
Yes.
Everybody's like, I vote for that. Okay, let's look at our problems then, and we'll finish this one next time. Because I vote for that too.
I thought we finished it. Because it was only.
We were super close. We just needed to remove that transitive dependency. And then it had this final item D, draw the crow's foot ERD. We hadn't done that. But we were pretty close to being done. So I think we got enough information out of that one that I don't feel too bad about asking you to do, which one? Let me check. Number 1 is the only one of the problems that I'd like for you to do on your own or with your study group. And we will turn in number 1 and then number 3 that we've done together. So those will be the problems for this module. And I'll update that assignment when you click on it to say that those 2 are the only ones. So we should have number 3 done from class. In number 1, take a look at it. They give you a list of data elements and they want you to create one of these little dependency diagrams for that. So what we were doing in Excel, where we were putting all of the data elements in their own cell and drawing the arrow to show that it was dependent upon another entity. So I would expect a lot of variety out of this. I want to see. So that's all. So lab time. Work on that. Let me know if you have any questions. You're welcome to get out of here if you would rather work on it someplace else. I'm going to end our Zoom session unless anybody's got any questions about it. Do you see anything weird? Look okay? Yeah. I'll return down the